This is delightful. I'm so glad we came here. Feel those vibrations at Camp Video Games.
Hello, campers. Welcome back to Camp Video Games. I am your junior camp counselor, Josh, joined also today by junior camp counselor,
Sean.
All right. Camp Video Games is a video game podcast in which we review. Is that the right word?
We discuss.
We discuss video games and their alternate media adaptations.
Ooh, I like that wording.
Yeah. Often, scene by scene or beat by beat, but not too, I don't know. And the point is, today's Donkey Kong Country Day. This was our first request.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes. Shout out to our Patreon subscribers. This is the one that made the pick. So, what up, homie?
Yeah.
I think you live in California. I've been there once.
Let's dox them. No, that is very cool that somebody requested this because Donkey Kong Country the game is something I've thought about a lot.
Yeah.
Like a lot. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna try to piece it all together as we go here, or at the beginning or end. I'm not really sure. So it was obviously Donkey Kong Country is a Nintendo intellectual property, right?
Yeah,
It goes back to the Donkey Kong arcade cabinet game,
right?
In which you're Mario. Is that the debut of Mario, or was it a Game & Watch? Do you remember?
I don't know off the top of my head if that was it or if it was just the Mario Brothers game where the
battle game.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
most people know from Mario 3.
That's right. Yeah. Great game. And that was an arcade cabinet too.
Yeah. So back in the arcade days when Nintendo was going, what's this video game thing about? Because they were just a regular toy company before that. So the premise here is, oh gosh, it's not your mom's Donkey Kong anymore. He's grown up. He's a hip hop style gorilla.
My mom's Donkey Kong isn't allowed within 100 yards of a school.
Actually, it's not Donkey Kong. So canonically, the Donkey Kong we're going to play
you
in
want
this
to get
game
right into this? Okay.
Is Donkey Kong Jr.
Yes.
And for some reason, Donkey Kong himself has been renamed Cranky Kong.
Yes, and that's how the game. When you put the cartridge in, Cranky Kong is spinning the old turntable and tapping his toes out of time, and it's just I've got less.
Go off, King.
I don't hold this game very high in esteem. I understand why people love it, but it didn't catch me when I was a kid. I didn't play it really at all, and I feel like this game relies on a lot of nostalgia for a lot of people. But I don't want to yuck yums because that's not the point of enjoying video games. It's all very subjective, but it just feels off. I don't know. It's like this is milk that I'm sniffing twice.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I'm going to drink it yet.
It just feeling a little off, I think, is probably the right way to sort of sum it up for somebody who does not have the nostalgia for it, which I don't think I'm necessarily clouded by nostalgia. I can definitely see the flaws of this game.
Sure.
But the thing is, when it came out, it was, for me, I think the first, marketing PR campaign that felt specifically targeted to me and my demographic.
Right. Because
that I was conscious of.
It released in 1994.
Yes.
So you'd have been 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
All hopped up on juice boxes, maybe some Dunkaroos.
I didn't get to have many snacks really. But,
you weren't a snack family?
No, we never kept snacks around.
You're a pretty healthy eater.
We would have you could have an extra bowl of cereal every once in a while.
Ooh, what's the indulgent cereal for you?
As a kid?
Yeah.
Oh God. Probably it was Fruity Pebbles.
You're all hopped up on Fruity Pebbles. Your poop's gonna be blood red at the end of the day.
Dude. So I was also a Nintendo Power subscriber.
Yeah.
And that was my connection to like games, quote unquote, journalism
Sure.
and marketing.
Nintendo Power is a big reason why I became a writer. Like sincerely, because I realized that there is actually an avenue to talk about video games. And what are we doing now? But even as a kid, like Nintendo Power was a huge inspiration to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, the older I get, the more I feel like I was called to dissect and deconstruct video games for people and try to get people to understand them as art.
Yeah. Like almost like justifying your hobby.
Yeah. But like in a more fair way than say somebody whose podcast is just like anything Disney puts out is the greatest thing ever.
Or the opposite, where they're like, I hate that Ray's a woman and I don't like that, it's not the same. It shouldn't.
Right.
Yeah.
So we try to do as fair and balanced, devoid of nostalgia goggles and culture war nonsense as possible.
Yeah, junior counselors Josh and Sean both have careers in media.
Yeah.
And so we take it seriously, even if the content that we're discussing is not.
Well, that feels like a nice sort of thematic introduction for anybody who didn't feel like listening to 15 hours of Zelda talk to get here.
Thanks.
I'm glad we took that pause here before diving into Donkey Kong Country. So
look at that big old monkey.
Dang, that game's got a big monkey in it. So anyway, I like the production of Donkey Kong Country was like shoveled down my throat. As an 8-year-old through Nintendo Power and through also what's seared in my brain is it's like a 15-minute promotional video.
Okay.
That they like recorded on site at Nintendo of America.
Sick.
Like having people show off early game stuff, and like that was mailed to your door if you were a Nintendo Power subscriber.
Much like the tape we discussed for Fox and Space, the Star Fox.
Exactly.
One.
Yeah.
Those promotional tapes. Was the Donkey Kong Country one yellow? The VHS.
It was covered in the the palm tree leaf texture that
fun.
You see all over the first world. And I feel like in my memory, I like watched and rewatched it. Like I can remember that video pretty darn well.
Yeah.
And the big thing that they're like really trying to sell you on is this is the moment. Video games are 3D.
3-dimensional. Sort of.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think Mortal Kombat had already come out.
Yeah, I believe Mortal Kombat was 93.
But the difference between Mortal Kombat is Mortal Kombat, I believe, was like photos that they turned to sprite pixel art.
That's right. They did like motion capture, much like how like they got like Smeagol for the Lord of the Rings. Like they put some people in front of a camera and they took very quick photos, which is called filming.
Yeah. So the difference here is that they had, and I remembered this without having to look it up. I'm verified it on Wikipedia to make sure I had this right. But they were big in the marketing was we used Silicon Graphics workstations to do 3D model renders of the characters. And they sort of like yada yada over the part that like, and then we just took a single still of this 3D render and turned it into pixel art for this game.
So wait, like when they say silicone model, like 3D printing?
So Silicon Graphics was just the name of like what they considered at the time like a graphics supercomputer.
Oh, okay.
For processing wireframe 3D models.
Thank you for that clarification, Junior Counselor.
And like, so in that promotional video, they show you like, oh, Diddy Kong exists as this 3D object like you would see now in Blender.
Yeah.
You know?
He's like got his arms out like the Vesuvio man.
You could see like a T-pose of Diddy Kong spinning around and like, they're like, and so you're like, oh my God, video games have finally done it. They're going to look like real now. And I was 8 years old, so I was sold. I was like, this is 3D as hell, dude.
At this point, I had a Sega. I didn't get a Super Nintendo, so I missed a lot of the Nintendo hype in the early mid 90s. The equivalent that I could think of like a video game being like, we're going into the future at this time would have been Vector Man. Which for Sega was like a very similar looking aesthetic, except in a super futuristic dystopian robot hellhole, but where it's like kind of 3D. Or it's like it evokes the idea of 3D imagery because there's shading and like very much a game being sold for the presentation more than for the content.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I would describe Donkey Kong Country in a nutshell. Is like,
it's
all about the the visuals.
It is all about the visuals until you get under the hood.
Okay.
There's a little bit going on. Mostly, I'm gonna dive into like a level here.
Yeah.
Because it's mostly what it's really about. David Wise's.
That is the most popular. If you search Donkey Kong Country, it's everything seems to be like, like we made a Christmas album using Donkey Kong Country, sound bites or whatever. It's the driving force of why people keep coming back to this game.
Yeah. And it's honestly catchy. Feel it's like more than catchy. I mean, it's legitimately got some like gorgeous moments. Maybe we'll get to it in a little bit.
Yeah.
But like the water level is they were just like, get us the closest thing to Brian Eno that you can.
Why don't you walk us through what the game is actually about?
Okay. Yeah. So the idea is what is the game about? Okay, let's go show you. If you're watching the video where I'm just showing off, the first level jungle antics. What is it called? Anyway, you wake up in Donkey. Well, let's just die. Fine, just kill me, bro. I don't care. But you wake up in
If you're just listening along on an audio format, you can join us over on YouTube to see some exciting visuals accompany this show. Just to remind people that we also have visuals.
We're just kind of like living in Donkey Kong's world here as we get back to this. So yeah, you just shoot out of this house, the DK house.
It's a sick clubhouse. I would love to live there.
Yeah, and if you go back inside, you see this is like the most lively sort of moment in the game or space in the game. You've got he's got tires to swing on. He's got extra bananas. He's got an animated picture from the Simpsons living room in the background. He's got a sexy ass.
Are you serious? That is
Candy Kong.
That's the living room painting.
Basically.
Holy moly.
And you get like this nice little, it's like, here's a tire. You can learn to bounce on it a little bit. There's a balloon. You learn balloons are 1-ups. So it's just a real fast tutorial thing. And lo and behold, if you go outside, you're gonna go in this little cave right here below his house, and he's gonna flip out. This cave below his house. Oh, mine's full because I beat the game. But if you come in here at the beginning of the game,
yeah, where the fuck are my bananas?
It's completely empty. There's no bananas there, and that's it. That's the story.
But he knows who took the bananas.
Yeah.
King K. Rool. It's a crocodile, I assume. Are they in Africa? They're in Ooga Booga Land or something like that. Like not being racist. Like that is because when we get to the cartoon, they actually have
Congo
a name.
Bongo.
Congo Bongo. God damn it! I just really fucked up.
Don't worry, the cartoon is way more problematic than we could ever.
Yeah,
that's for
we'll
the next
that.
episode.
Stay tuned.
But yeah, then after that, you're left to just go find your bananas, and it's a pretty standard platformer.
Yeah.
So on the note of it as a platformer, I'm curious, like knowing what was around at the time, how did you feel just with it as a platform game?
Oh, I mean, the controls are wonderful. I feel like it's really responsive. Donkey Kong, and Diddy Kong, like so again, like I played through it last week, beat the game. And I tended to enjoy playing as Diddy Kong more, just because I felt like his attack radius was a bit larger. But as a kid, I saw it and I was like, it looks a little like when you take a photo of something and there's dirt on the lens.
Yeah.
It just looks kind of like that. It looks like I was like I just want to like smear some coal off of it.
Yeah, it does not have the same polish as Super Mario World, the launch title.
I love simple sprites. I love bright, garish colors. Like the things that keep kids' attention. Like I still like that stuff. Like, you know, flashing colors, pleasant sounds. I'm not a baby, but I do like some baby toys.
There is like basic. Well, actually, I could sort of get into this in a more technical sense. And
to finish that thought though, that's what Super Mario World is. Super Mario World is a beautiful baby toy, whereas this one is like more of like a it looks kind of like a Chinese bootleg of.
Yeah. There is something that feels bootleggy about it, but this was sort of platformers in this transitional space. They were all like trying to do more and more of this make it feel 3D thing.
Yeah.
And what I was saying, like, I could probably explain from a more technical point, is like one of the cool things the game does is like, so like right now I'm playing the second level of World 1. I forget what it's called. I'm sorry, I'm not paying enough attention to that. But as you finish the first level, it becomes night, and this one it starts raining.
Yeah.
So you have these like weather transitions happening, and then the rain goes away at the end, that like make it feel like you're actually on this adventure with these dynamic backgrounds and stuff. So you feel like you are traveling.
Yeah,
like, that's a nice little detail.
I think that that aesthetic where the background is moving different relative to your forward movement is called parallax scrolling.
Yeah.
And it looks good.
A lot of good layers of parallax scrolling.
It looks good in that sense. Like they accomplished what they intended. It's just more about what they intended that I don't know if I like or not.
Here's where the contradictions start to arise. I'm going to try to explain this. This is where it might be helpful to go to the YouTube, but like the silicon graphic models, which I have to say with this stupid British accent, because they used British developer Rare to make this game because they had the access to the silicon graphics engines.
Oh yeah, those blokes got the best stuff.
Yeah. So like look behind Donkey Kong's arms. Like it's just plain black shadow. So there's one lighting for both character models, and it's just a very direct key light. Like, right in front of them.
It's like product photography.
Yeah. So like they don't fit in the world.
That's
is the really big issue with this particular.
Whereas where you look at like Super Mario in Super Mario World, like it looks, he's a part of the landscape. Like everything melds together perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. And this is like a sign of why I think video games for the next 15 years do not age well often.
Interesting. Yeah.
Is that like they wanted to it's like the kind of thing where it's like, oh, when you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Yeah.
It's basically what happened to gaming for the next 15 years. Is like everything has to be 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, but they hadn't learned how to pay attention to details in 3D like that. And that's a big part of why this hold.
So the way the gameplay works as well is that like it much like Super Mario 3, you've got like a game board that you go from level to level, but in this case it's like pretty linear. I know that as you get to different screens, because I think there's like 5 or so different screens that you'll go through. I might be mistaken on that. Because right now we're on screen 1, so you have the 1, 2, 3, 4 levels, and I believe there's 40 levels in total on this game. It just seems kind of pointless to me. Start, give me a level 1, and then just like go to level 2. I don't need to go to the game board. I don't know. I don't want to be just overly critical of this game because it wasn't something I enjoyed as a kid, but I'm going to be critical of it right now because I didn't enjoy it as an adult either.
Right.
And the characters themselves are great. I love Diddy Kong specifically. Played the shit out of Diddy Kong Racing back in the day. And he looks great in that.
That's an excellent game.
It's a fantastic racing game, possibly superior to Mario Kart 64.
Oh, I 100% stand by that.
And Leah, if you still have my cartridge, I would like that back. I don't think you're a listener, but I want my Diddy Kong back.
Well, I'll speak up in a slight defense of the world map, but also mostly in agreement. Is that what it does for you as a kid is the abstraction of the journey again. The same way like the weather effects of like, oh wow, these dynamic backgrounds and the parallax scrolling make me feel like I've gone somewhere. It's like that's what it does. It's the early Final Fantasy games do the same thing. They've moved away from that a lot in the later games of having an overworld map.
Yeah.
But what it does in the brain of a kid is you think, oh, I'm just seeing the highlights of the adventure. There's all this stuff and all these relationships building over time. And
think the traveling map screen for Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And then you see the red line go from one place to the other where he'll steal other relics from that culture and sell them to imperialist museums.
Right. Well, we're sort of talking about the game in general, along with World 1. So we'll keep doing that. But let's hang out with Cranky Kong for a second.
Yeah.
So
Cranky Kong. So that's the original Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
That's the Donkey Kong that was throwing barrels at Mario. Now he's old as shit, and he's classic old man beard.
But the weird thing again about the character design is he looks way more like Diddy Kong. Like he looks way more like a chimp than a gorilla.
You think he's Benjamin Buttoning?
Well, like if you've seen an adult gorilla, like a silverback gorilla, like he'd be huge.
Dude, I forgot you're like a primate guy.
Yeah, like a like mature silverback gorilla is like a huge, proud, noble thing. Even when they're old and they're like hunched over a little.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be this shriveled chimpanzee looking.
Interesting.
thing.
I never even thought about that.
It's like very odd.
Donkey Kong looks like a completely different animal than Diddy Kong.
Yeah.
Wow.
They are. Diddy's a chimp and Donkey Kong's a gorilla. But anyway, so Cranky's there to give you hints along the way. And also he doubles down on how proud they are of the 3D because he's supposed to be the cranky old man that you're like, oh, this guy, you know?
Yeah.
And most of his comments are like, back in my day, we didn't need this 3D. And he even brings up at one point, he's like, we didn't have stereo sound. And I'm like, what kid in the demographic of this game knows or gives a single shit what stereo sound is?
Oh, man.
Like, think about like how much games were marketed as like in stereo when we were young. You knew you wanted it, but you didn't know what it meant. Like now I do. Now I'm like, I want my games cranked up.
Sure.
I want to be immersed in the experience.
That's still not super important to me.
Oh, I love it.
I don't know what my actual motivation is for like why I enjoy video games besides just like distracting myself and not giving any space for intrusive thoughts.
Well, that's a fair enough reason as well. So yeah, Cranky Kong is another piece that I say doesn't age well in that like it doubles down on the thing that was probably weakest in the game.
Yeah.
Like if you play the latest Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is sort of like the latest reboot of this Donkey Kong Country style.
Okay.
Like so much of this stuff is fixed because we actually know how to do cartoon 3D graphics in a 2D plane platformer kind of thing.
Yeah. So they keep the gameplay very similar to like old school Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah.
And why is it called Tropical Freeze?
Because the bad guys are somebody who like comes in and freezes Donkey Kong Country.
I should have known.
And they have to unfreeze it.
Okay.
We've
got a global warming this.
Yeah, so I don't know, just a couple more little highlights of World 1 here is you've got the first aquatic level. You're stoked, I think.
Yeah, blast that boy.
Yeah, we're gonna turn that up a little bit. And it's amazing. Like video game music was good before this, but David Wise did bring this like Brian Eno electronic music sensibility to it that just was not there in games before, I feel like.
Yeah, the music has aged way more gracefully than the gameplay.
Yeah. But once you get beyond that, it becomes so tedious. By the time I got to the last water level in this playthrough, I was just like, oh my god, please kill me.
Yeah, it's just like, I want to watch this monkey drown.
Yeah. So But you know, this is also a good place to introduce. You do have in the game these riding buddies.
Yeah, because we saw you riding a rhinoceros before, and that would like blast through cave walls to get to secret areas. This game, one thing in its favor that I would have really enjoyed as a younger gamer is that it tells you what percentage of the game you have beaten.
Yeah, dude.
And if you remember when we were talking about the original Star Fox, it gave you a grade. And I'm like, ooh, I got like, and it's funny because
too much like school.
Well, that's like the thing is like I did not ever care about grades in school, but I really wanted a good grade in video games.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, one more note about like the riding buddies. So in this one you have Rambi, the rhino, Espresso, the ostrich, I believe. This is On Guard.
That's fun. The swordfish.
Yeah, the swordfish and the parrot's name I forget, but
Are these beloved characters to you?
I don't know. Like I was so wrapped up in the media marketing hype through Nintendo Power that all of this was so beloved to me. I mean, I had literally, this is what a loser I was. I had a picture of like Donkey and Diddy Kong hanging on my bedroom wall.
Was it like above your bed?
Like my bed
It was on the ceiling above your bed.
So my bedroom, my childhood bedroom was this tiny little like alcove space in my parents' house. Because I was the youngest, they're like, he just gets the room that's left. And so my bed was like in this little alcove with like no space on either side. So I was literally surrounded by pictures I'd pulled out of Nintendo Power.
Hell yeah.
And for a long time, it was Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong.
Right on. They're your boys.
Like the cover image from this game. So yeah, I mean, I loved these guys. The other thing that you brought up was the bonus stages and the completion percentage.
Yeah.
So that's really where the replay factor of this game
for sure. Because like when I played through, I got a 48%, and like I'm a pretty thorough. Like I like to investigate, and I, obviously like just watching you play the water stage, like you knew where some of these little hidden alcoves were, but like I didn't even find half of the stuff in a full playthrough, which I think that full playthrough took me maybe 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm. I think it was like an hour. I was jokingly when I was streaming this, I was like, yeah, I'm speed running. My runtime was like an hour 10 things.
Okay.
Like
so is there a difference between Diddy and Donkey Kong? Like as like as characters like
control?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a few things to note. So Diddy Kong, he's slightly more nimble.
Yeah.
In terms of his like run speed. And the big one, big part of why I like to always have Diddy out front is that when he picks up barrels, he puts them in. I'm trying to find a barrel for anybody watching, but he puts it in front of him as a shield. As opposed
where Donkey just like holds it over his head.
So yeah, like Donkey Kong, if you run straight into a smaller enemy, Donkey Kong can still be hit when he's holding a barrel house.
Yeah. That makes that might explain why I instinctively liked Diddy Kong more. Although, okay,
Diddy Kong is a massively better controlling swimmer.
I have to address their outfits. So Diddy Kong is wearing he's wearing a MAGA hat and a sleeveless.
Not my sweet Diddy Kong.
And a sleeveless red
just
t-shirt.
Kisses from Candy Kong.
Donkey Kong is just wearing a tie.
Which he is in the original, right?
I don't remember if he's wearing a tie in the game, in the like old school Donkey Kong game. I'm really not sure, but like I don't know. I know that it's like super standard for cartoon characters to have a shirt and no pants.
Yeah.
But
Diddy's really Winnie the Pooh in it over here.
That's right. Yeah. Are there any Winnie the Pooh video games?
Kingdom Hearts.
Oh my God, no.
Kingdom
No,
Hearts
no,
is
no,
the
no, 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 no,
ultimate
no, 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 no,
adaptation
no,
of video
no,
games.
no, 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 no.
Yeah, dude.
No, 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 no.
You don't want to go down that road. You don't want none of this stuff, man. It's like that scene in Dewey Cox.
You don't want no part of this shit, Dewey. You don't want to talk about Final Fantasy and Hercules at the same time.
It makes Disney and Final Fantasy better.
No, I can't do it. Oh God.
No, actually, I think Kingdom Hearts kind of sucks.
Once we reach the $10,000 a month on Patreon, if you want us to do Kingdom Hearts.
Once this show is paying my rent, I'll play Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
And watch all the movies that are in Kingdom Hearts.
God. I played through the first one.
And if like I have like a toddler by then, so I have a reason to watch
movies
I absolutely
baby movies.
do not want to watch again.
Just a little sidebar. I watched I'm really feeling like the seasonal affective disorder right now.
Hell yeah.
And last night it's like we just had Halloween at the time of recording, and I am not a Christmas person at all. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. We're watching Santa Claus with Tim Allen, baby.
Oh yeah, dude.
That movie is
Yeah,
problematic.
give Santa powers.
There's just it's a charming movie if you don't think about like the horrible inner workings of Hollywood. But there are some problematic jokes where they are implying that like Tim Allen wants to fuck one of the elves, which is played by a child. And it's just very bad, very uncool.
No.
Yeah. But
How'd that do for your seasonal effectiveness?
Oh, Merry Christmas, Josh.
Okay. Anything else about the appearance of Diddy and Donkey Kong?
Well, I mean, where's their genitalia? Are they growers, not showers?
I think gorillas maybe do tend to be a little and Diddy's a chimp. It's very confusing that they're all the same quote unquote family.
Wait, do gorillas not have big dicks?
Anyway, let's talk about boss battles in Donkey Kong
That's a sincere
Country.
question.
Do what?
Do gorillas have big dicks or not?
I don't look at their dicks.
So you need a microscope to
I'm
find
not
it.
that big of a fan.
All right, moving on.
Anyway, boss battles in Donkey Kong.
Oh yeah,
Country.
okay. Boss battles are kind of fun.
Yeah, so each world has like a banana horde, and god dang, that's a lot of us when you fight the boss.
Yeah, dude,
Part of your banana horde is.
It looks like the
left
treasure
behind by
hoard that like Smog is protecting.
Right. The bosses are very predictable once you understand like the pattern is with every hit something escalates.
Yeah,
you just have to learn
yeah.
what escalates and how, and then you've got it.
So this one, you just killed a muskrat, or what the hell was that?
Very Naughty's lair. Naughty is a beaver.
Oh, that makes sense because he gnaws on trees.
There's some horny undertones.
Oh, wait till we get to the cartoon.
Yeah. So anyway.
So you just killed a beaver.
Yeah. I murdered a beaver.
Good.
And this brings us to the world map for the first time. Which,
Okay. This is yeah. So we were first at just like a local map, which then took you to the big island map.
Yeah.
Oh my God! It's shaped like Donkey Kong's head
Yeah. Super fun. Like
with like devil horns.
This is so low res now.
Yeah, it looks like shit.
It does. It's pretty bad.
It's wild because we're playing this on Switch, which like should be better. It should be better.
Well, these ports they don't do anything. They just scale up the like 240 or 480p whatever the game was released as. And yeah, I mean, but like this really gave me a sense of scale and a lived-in world.
Absolutely.
So like props to that.
I can totally appreciate that.
And like the way it's laid out, there's kind of like a justification for like what is where. It's a little weird. There's like 2 mining levels. This is a very extractive economy they have going on in Donkey Kong Country. There's 2 levels full of like mining operations. One that's just an industrial wasteland, and then the rest is like whatever's left to preserve, I guess.
What's up with that? What is up with that?
I don't know, man. Another fun detail of the world map is the King K. Rool ship. It starts off in the distance, and then the sprite moves a little closer with each world you clear.
Ooh, that's fun.
It's fun, but it's confusing because the game starts with your banana horde having been robbed, which implies King K. Rool came in the night, took all the bananas, sailed back out to sea, and then went, wait, let's go back for him.
Let's get some more bananas.
Like, he could have just taken off and been free.
Yeah, but, like, we've talked about this before, how, like, criminals often return to the scene of the crime.
Yeah. But this game's not about plot. So we move on with a little bit of alliteration, and Monkey Mines is the next world.
I hate the mine levels.
Yeah.
The exact timing necessary.
The carts?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, you've got to talk about the minecart level. This is like, there's something about, we forgot about Winky.
Let's talk about Winky.
So, yeah, Winky, just to throw it in the pantheon of creatures you can ride and meet. He's a frog who bounces. His controls are a little bit miserable, but it is fun. The variation of control and how you platform.
Does it control kind of like Frog Suit Mario? Like,
yeah.
like less forward momentum unless you're jumping?
The forward momentum's a little confusing. It's like a little, like, I don't know, like too sticky or something.
Yeah.
Like, there's just something a little bit off about it.
Let's talk about some of these enemies that you keep killing. You're fighting these crocodiles and buzzards. Okay, Winky's cool. Yeah, Winky the frog. He's like camouflage colors. Is he jumping higher than Diddy can normally jump?
Oh yeah, you get way more height with that's the advantage of Winky.
Yeah,
he bounces higher. You can jump higher.
And you also get a free hit. Like if you get hit while on him, like Winky.
They're kind of like shields.
Like Yoshi logic.
Yeah.
Thinking of that, like, this game to me feels a lot like, okay, we already made the perfect platformer with Super Mario World. Now let's like mess around. I don't know. It seems very much like a fuck around and find out kind of game.
Yeah, but it's also like you can feel it's not quite the same caliber of a Mario team.
For sure. And so Rare did all of the... I mean, this is all in-house from Rare?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Nintendo was just like, hey, it's
we'll
our
publish
intellectual
it,
property, and we're going to publish it kind of under our name. And we were talking about the enemies.
Yeah.
So King K. Rool has, lots of what are called Kremlins.
Kremlins?
Not many in this level. We saw a few at the beginning.
Mr. K. Rool, tear down this wall.
And it's actually spelled the same as like the Kremlin.
Wow.
In Moscow.
What the fuck?
So most of like the enemies you see are these reptile guys. And the rest are just, I don't know, innocent native species that you're murdering. I don't know. But yeah, anytime you see a reptile thing, that's like a minion of King K. Rool.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll talk about the mine level.
I have a question. Speaking of like Donkey Kong's like move set,
yeah.
He can like pound the ground. Does that do anything?
Almost 100% useless.
But it's kind of cool.
So if there is a spot on the ground that will dig out a barrel or a bonus banana or something, if you fall from a high enough height, Donkey Kong, if you miss it, Donkey Kong's ground pound can bring it up.
Okay.
It's
all the hidden stuff. I mean, I get it. Like it adds replayability, but like I'm a
fellow who just loves beers, smoking weed, and platforming good games.
No, with these types of games, like I don't want to explore in this game. I want to get to the end of the level and beat the boss,
which will be out of control by the time you make it to Donkey Kong 64. Famously, like the most chaotically disorganized, way too much in here collectathon game ever made.
Should I play it?
No.
Okay. I like those the N64 Donkey Kong 64 controllers, the yellow ones that with the banana handles. Have you seen those?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that?
You seen this, folks? So the minecart level was also bigly touted in marketing of like, wow, you get to ride vehicles. Look how cool this adventure is. And then you get there and you realize there's nothing to do but press B in time.
What this reminds me of is the thing that made everyone stop. You did that twice in a row.
Yeah.
It's the jet bike level from Battletoads. It's except that's like 30% of Donkey Kong.
Um,
Have you played much Battletoads?
I
You know what I'm talking about? Just like you're underground and like it's like perfect timing.
the turbo
is needed.
tunnel.
That's right. Oh wow.
Yeah, I using save states, I beat it. And it took me like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Dear God, how
Don't
hard that would be if you were not, if you were not using save states.
Yeah, for sure.
This one's not quite that difficult.
I sure utilize save states to get through it, especially with the minecart levels, because like you've just died a couple of times.
To be fair, I'm not really paying attention in our little.
Well, no, you're doing a great
we're doing
job
right now. But
like it punishes you for not knowing what's going to happen next.
Yeah,
and
I
it
hate
tricks you. It gives you these bananas that are like you'd be like, oh, well, the part like, you know, the whole point of the game is to hoard wealth. And so I might as well get more wealth. And then it's just like, fuck you, you're dead now.
I'm just doing this anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I think there's a lot of satisfaction in finally doing it, but that relies on you getting frustrated.
Yeah.
And that's not fun to me.
Yeah, so this is maybe a good opportunity to talk about my first experience with this game.
Ooh, please do.
You know, 1994.
Hi, I'm Josh. Oh boy, I can't wait to play Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, my best friends.
Exactly what I sounded like. So my friend Michael and I were very hyped. I was joking when I was streaming this the other night. I was like, yeah, I played this game with my like one of my best childhood friends, Michael, who, while I'm streaming this and very analytically deconstructing it, he's probably going to bed with his beautiful wife and loving children.
But you know what he's thinking? He's like, damn, I miss Donkey Kong.
I miss playing Donkey
Country.
Kong Country with Josh.
Oh, I wish I lived at a camp where they talk about
This
video
right here,
games.
wait for this. Boom. That's so mean. Okay, so
That
the very
last
end of that
one.
level, they throw a Kremlin at you at the
Yeah.
end of the Minecart level. Anyway, so he and I were really excited about this game as it was coming out. I got him in on the hype train big time.
Hold on, I gotta say, I don't like you having other friends. This is an exclusive friendship here, okay?
If it makes you feel better, I haven't seen him since 2016.
Do you like him more than me?
So, I remember, so the game came out in November in 94. So it was like, we want kids to get this game for Christmas.
Dude, we're almost at the 30th anniversary then.
Oh, good
29th-ish.
Yeah. We rented it once, and you can play 2-player can be competition mode. I think where you both have to beat each stage.
Okay. Like a race?
Yeah. So like if you are failing at a stage, your friend keeps going ahead, I believe is how it works.
Okay. So it's kind of like Super Mario 2-player logic, where it's like, although this one also adds where you can both play cooperatively on screen at the same time. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the other way to play.
Yeah.
And that's how we played it. I was Diddy Kong, he was Donkey Kong.
Hell yeah.
Because Diddy Kong rules, and I knew that. So I feel like the weekend we rented it, we made it probably a good chunk of the way through World 4. There's some serious sort of skill checks when you get to World 4.
Yeah.
So far, like as we're walking through the game, World 2, the minecart level is the only real skill check. And like you said, it's not even really a skill check. It's like, can you memorize the pattern of when to hit B check? And it's kind of cheap that way.
It's more like a rhythm game at
Yeah.
that point. Because like, yeah, you're like not even really control of like going backward and forward as much as it's just like making sure you jump at the right point
Yeah.
with the mine carts.
Yeah. It's not great in that way. And another thing I was acknowledging during my playthrough is the game is at its best when you can feel like I've really learned it and I can kind of speed platform it like the best of Sonic.
Yes.
And a lot of games, it is a really hard thing to figure out how to thread. Also, Mario Wonder just came out a few weeks ago. Fantastic game. But by the time you get to the last world or two, you lose a little bit of that sense of like speed and control that's so fun about these. So like, we're still in World 2, and I'm playing like one of the temple levels, and you still like can have a lot of good sense of like, yeah, just go for it, dude. You know,
This is a really good looking level too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the levels like still look bright and fun. But then as you get further, there's some points in this game they do a good job, I think, of doing like a kind of skill check where once you learn it, it is fun.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that when we get there, but other times it's like, okay, this is slow. And as I've mentioned in past episodes, it's like, I want the I get it button. A lot of platformers suffer from that. So just a little critique there. And I don't know, round out World 2, the boss. Sean, would you go ahead and read that boss name for me?
I feel a little dirty saying it. But I think it's like the equivalent of third base. It's called Necky's Nuts. Getting these nuts up in Necky.
There's something going on. And with like
Oh,
the
God.
first boss being a beaver named Very Naughty.
But like, I get it. It's a wood pun.
Yeah. But it's like, I don't know if they were just sort of going for a second audience with there was intended.
Yeah, this
double
is
entendre.
for mom and dad to laugh at.
Yeah, and so now I've already beaten him. It's
So
pretty
that was
easy.
a buzzard spitting coconuts at you.
Yeah.
Very Birdo in
Mhm.
its own way. Okay, so everything seems to be alliterative.
Yes and no. Monkey Mines, Vine Valley. That was the past 2 worlds, but the first one was Congo Jungle.
Congo jungle.
So apparently they live in the Congo,
Okay.
but it's an island.
Yep.
Like they just decided the word Congo means something.
You know, I never even made the connection, like, because, like, thinking about, like, this is probably a good opportunity to just talk about Donkey Kong in general.
Uh-huh.
Like, the old story of, like, why they changed it from Monkey Kong. It was just a mistranslation, right? Like, but Kong, that's coming obviously from King Kong, which is really just, like, a story about slavery. I assume that they took the name King Kong from the Congo. I never really thought about it until just now.
Yeah.
Like why he's named King Kong. But there's a really good King Kong video game for the NES where you play as King Kong and it's a top-down shooter type of game, kind of. Like very much like do you ever play Super C? The Contra sequel?
For Super Nintendo?
No, that's Super Contra. Super C is the sequel for the NES.
I
But
think so,
you know those
yeah.
top-down levels in Contra
Yeah,
where
yeah.
like you're doing that like map navigation? That's what I think it's called. And it was a Japanese exclusive. So played any way you can, wink. I think it's just called King Kong 2 and some Japanese words I didn't translate.
So
Wait, what was I going for? Oh, right. Why he's named King Kong.
yeah, if we want to go trace Donkey Kong's etymology one more layer back.
Yeah.
The etymology of King Kong's name. Marion C. Cooper, who I believe came up with the concept.
Is that the director of the original film?
Um,
Fantastic movie too. If you haven't watched the original King Kong, big recommendation on that. That's one I would put on quite often, even as an adult.
yeah, he's listed here as a creator
Okay.
of King Kong. I lost my spot here. He loved K words.
Uh-oh.
Some of his favorite words were Komodo, Kodiak, and Kodak. But more specifically, was fascinated by adventures by Douglas Burden, as chronicled in his books Dragon Lizards of Komodo, where he referred to the animal as the king of Komodo. It was the phrase along with Komodo and Congo, and his overall love for hard-sounding K words that gave him King Kong. So it does come from Congo.
Bing, 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 bing.
Yeah.
That's the Cam Video Games difference.
And then we get the full circle here with Donkey Kong lives in Congo jungle. Very weird.
Bingo, bingo, bongo. I
like-
don't want to leave the Congo. Oh, no, no, no,
Three-
no, no.
It's like after 3 layers of disambiguation, we make it back to the root. It's very odd.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, that was Monkey Mines. Vine Valley's the next world. It's sort of the forest.
Vulture culture.
I don't. This is so like such a weird title. I called this one out too. I was like, oh, this is a weird name. What's going on here?
Is it like a vulture has like a yeast infection or something?
So like at this point, like you can kind of catch on. They're like they start using different gimmicks of the game to like escalate challenge. So like I think it's this one that like you'll do a lot of rope swinging.
Okay.
And like having to like utilize, okay, where am I on the rope? And if it's not this one, it's one of the next. I'm not gonna remember.
I also have to address the barrel mechanics because you like Donkey or Diddy Kong, they'll jump into a barrel, and then the barrel is like a cannon that will shoot them in specific directions based on. Are you able to control it, or it's always on a time, or like it's like a swiveling on a timer kind of thing?
Yeah, they have like just paths and timers.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And that is to me one of the most miserable parts of this game as well. And I know later in the game we'll get to that part because it's just like I had amassed so many lives. And I tried to just play through some of the later levels without using the Switch Online's rewind feature. And I just like blasted through like 30 lives. And it was just like, it didn't feel like these deaths were truly earned. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like where it's like, sometimes in like a Mario game, like you know, if you walk into a Goomba, you're like, okay, like I deserved that.
That was my dumb fault. I was not paying attention.
But with Donkey Kong Country, most of my deaths were not at the hands of enemies, but they were because of the like very time sensitive.
Yeah, like learning the pattern
Yes.
and the timing, and you like need a few tries, right?
Okay, you just got yourself an ostrich. And what's the ostrich's name?
Espresso. His thing is, he can flap and sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not drift.
Hover?
Like hover.
Yeah, much like Princess Peach in Mario 2.
Yeah, and these little claptrap, the little guys.
Claptrap?
I'm telling you, dude.
Oh my
some
God.
Problematic stuff. Anyway, yeah, these little shark tooth guys.
Like that's like a World War II slur for a hooker.
Yeah. They can't get his little bird feet because he's got powerful sneakers on. I don't know. Check out those Jordans on this dude.
Sick.
Yeah. All right. So this is kind of to your point here. The game starts to punish you for speed because if you just run, this guy, this Manky Kong is this guy, right? This angry.
Oh my God, this
looking
race
orangutan
trader.
at this level. Yeah. I referred to him as Cousin Kong in my playthrough.
Nice.
But like, so if this level's all about like you have to predict when this guy's gonna have barrels coming at you that you can't see. But Donkey Kong, if we were in Donkey Kong's first-person point of view, he would see that.
Yeah, I see where you're
and
going
that
with
feels
this.
like cheating.
Yeah. He doesn't appear on screen.
See?
He would be well within your field of vision, but he's not on screen. So
Right.
for some reason, that means Donkey Kong can't see him. It's cheap. It's just it's.
And it's like a little hard to sense like when do you trigger like that guy has spawned and is now throwing barrels.
Sure.
So this is like another one of those. Call it it's like more of a patience check than a skill check. This is orangutan gang or something is the name of the level. This is kind of the other standout, but it looks nice. Again, it's using the same assets from the other jungle levels.
Yeah.
But it's using like a new sunset.
It's quite a beautiful sunset.
Color pattern. But what's interesting is the color pattern does impact the sprites for Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong.
Yeah.
But it doesn't affect the lighting. They are still lit with that aggressive key light right in front of them.
Can't ask for miracles.
Yeah. See, like,
So the
so you can hear it going boom and coming
Yeah.
your way, but it's just a matter of patience.
the monkey throwing barrels is
and
named
learning.
Manky Kong.
Manky Kong.
That's a Pokemon. Mankey.
Oh, that's a good point. And it is a monkey. But for me, that's kind of like the only other like standout.
Clam City.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Well, this is worth noting. The way, if you want to 100% the game, to know where you need to go back to is the exclamation point at the name. End of the name
Oh,
of the
that's
level.
fun.
So you only, if it doesn't has an exclamation point, it means you missed bonus stage. And bonus stages were a hard sell in this game.
Yeah. It's
the
like free
marketing-
video game.
Well, the marketing and the promo was like, it's 50 or 100 bonus stages. Like they made a huge deal out of.
Yeah.
You've got to find all the bonus stages. They're gonna help you out so much. Blah blah. And that's what your 100% is counted. It's actually 101%.
Ooh, those fuckers.
Yeah. Anyway,
bonus-
Bumblebee Rumble's the boss of this world.
Bonus stages were a big deal back in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
You play much of the rail shooter Area 51 back in the day?
No.
It's much like Time Crisis or Lethal Enforcers or Virtua Cop. It's just, it's a an arcade shooter, or I don't even know if it's a shooter necessarily, because that usually means more like the plane shooting games like Airwolf or something. But you know, you're first person, but you don't see your gun. What is that? It's, I guess, rail shooter is the proper term.
It's like a first person rail shooter.
And in Area 51, the bonus levels, you'd see babes.
Hell
and
yeah,
there'd be like chicks in bikinis,
Hell
and they'd give
yeah.
you extra lives and a shotgun. And you're like, hell yeah. This is what adults do.
This is how I'm gonna play grown-ups as an adult.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Video
meet
games as a grown-up.
all my girlfriends. They're gonna wear bikinis and give me a shotgun.
They're gonna be handing me beers while I beast through these stages in my video games
I'm gonna get drunk and vote.
with a gun.
Bumblebee Rumble. So this is the next boss, and so we fought a beaver, a buzzard, and a bee.
And this is
all B words.
all about. This is where that Diddy Kong difference comes in. Also, you'll see that whole pattern thing I was talking about. So, first off, Diddy Kong, since he holds the barrel in front,
Nice.
you just hold the barrel and it hits him.
Nice.
And then the bee does this just up, down, up, down. Very simple programming going on here. But he goes a little faster every time you hit him.
That's right, bees, boy.
Bees, boy.
I need that. I really need that. On
That's a good one. Anytime we say bee.
Anytime we say the letter B, you gotta play B1. So, very simple. But I mean, again, this game is not designed for 30-something men to be challenged, right? So, when my friend Michael and I were playing through this, it was every time we got to a boss, there was lives lost, patterns learned. You know, and
Yeah.
you do feel that sort of growth.
It's got to be
Right.
noted. It's got to be noted too that after you beat the boss, a gigantic banana falls down, and then there's a Nintendo sticker on it.
Right. Gorilla Glacier is the next world. And
I mean, what else would it be?
your least favorite level is probably my favorite level of the game.
Should we fight?
Is it Snow Barrel Blast, or I think it is the very first one here. And when you're first learning the game, here's the real challenge: is you'll have a level like this, the first level in the world. That buzzer we did.
Oh hell yeah!
Anyway, so the first level in this world, World 4, whatever Barrel Blast, is already really difficult, and brings this sense of anxiety along with it, as it also does that thing that I was talking about with like, oh, the weather, the atmosphere, the lighting will change throughout a stage, so you feel this sense of journey. God darn it, I can't get past this wrong.
I gotta make a note. Like these bees in Donkey Kong Country have spines. Like they've got like needle points on their backs as well as their stinger, which means that you can't jump on them, I assume.
No, you can only hit them with a barrel, and some of them not even that. This level is all about barrel shooting all the way down, and as you go, the layers of parallax scrolling get closer and closer with this moving snow, and by the end, you're in an all-out blizzard with this like extremely difficult barrel shooting section.
Interesting, because right now the snow's in the background as you're playing, and it's gonna get forefront pretty soon.
Yeah.
There it is. That's interesting.
And I think it can still get worse. I think this is really, really good level design. I remember being like, this level bringing, you could get that Ramby guy, but it's hard. Anyway, I remember this level bringing like just the right amount of ratio of frustration, and then like, I'm talking slow because I'm trying to like, frustration to like pride ratio, right? That's kind of like what you want out of a platform.
Right. It's not an accomplishment unless it was difficult.
Yeah. Oh, I was so close. Anyway, if you do this barrel section, like 100% perfect, you get one of the only 3-up balloons in the game. What, you gonna try it? All right, Sean's gonna try it. I passed him the controller.
Right.
I don't remember if I got the midway thing there.
Looks like you did.
And it's pretty hard already just to learn the stage and pass it. And the snow, like I said, adds this extra layer of anxiety. Lovely. He fell in the first pit that he could have found.
I'm ashamed. This game fucking sucks, dude.
This game's terrible. Have you seen? There's this guy on Twitch who sometimes like makes the rounds for how bad his takes are. Who anytime he's doing bad at a game, he just yells about how poorly designed it is. It's very funny. So it is fun to like have to learn it, but it's also a little unfair that like the sort of animated points of articulation of the barrels are not as smooth as they should be, if that makes sense. Like they probably have like, let's see, if a clock has like 12 points, you know.
Yeah.
The barrels probably have like 8. It's a little hard to figure out.
I'm not doing well. I don't want to play this.
Sean is so high right now, dude.
I'm not. I'm not at all.
But
I'm just bad at Donkey Kong Country.
So like that level is pretty darn difficult, and then you go into the next level there. What's it called? Slip Slide Ride.
Yeah, let's do it. That last level was miserable.
That
was your favorite level?
I love that level. I think it's brilliant. And I hated it, as a kid. It felt like it took us the whole weekend we'd rented the game. We might have even gotten stuck on that and then had to wait till we both got the game for Christmas before we could play.
Oh, nice.
Again. And then on top of that, once you beat it, you're still 3 or 4 levels away from Candy Kong, who saves your game for you. And you can't go back.
She does more than that.
Yeah. So you can't go back. You have to keep going. And you have to make it to Candy Kong. Otherwise, if you lose, you have to replay that level. I think it's a radically wild like leap in a skill check, but it's a fun challenge.
Oh my god! Sorry, I can't talk and play video games at the same time.
It's a fun challenge from like
Here you go.
The perspective of the time the game existed, right? Where it's like you're an 8-year-old boy, and this is the only game you're gonna get.
Right. That's super important to consider when talking about these games, is that like they're meant, and like that's why the whole idea of something being quote unquote Nintendo hard, and why like there's sometimes differences between the difficulty of like American games and their Japanese counterparts. Like they would make them more difficult for American audiences because they didn't want people to just rent it once and then never play it again. They wanted people to they wanted it to be difficult enough for them to buy it.
Yeah.
Like the big example, it would be The Lion King for Sega and Super Nintendo. The developers recently, like somebody interviewed one of the game's developers, and they're like, yeah, no, we made it like unfairly difficult because like Nintendo wanted to make sure that like we didn't like lose sales to renters.
Right.
And like renting in Japan is like, that was not a thing.
Yeah. Did we talk about in any other episode how they did the opposite of this for Final Fantasy?
With like Mystic Quest.
I didn't even think about
like
that.
Which was like, I think in Japan it was just called Final Fantasy America because it was like stupid easy.
I forget what that one was called in Japan, but what they did is with Final Fantasy IV, which was 2 here.
Yeah.
They dumbed it down for us because they thought it wouldn't sell.
Yeah,
it was too hard. And then they re-released it in Japan as Final Fantasy IV Easy version.
Oh my gosh. That's funny.
They just thought we didn't have the patience for RPGs in America.
You know, you look at the sales of JRPGs in America, they're pretty good, man.
Most of them are me.
Josh is just buying hundreds of thousands of copies.
So yeah, but back to like this world's kind of pattern. You have that really difficult first level, and then this kind of like calm, serene cave for the second level. And then you still have like, a couple more before you can save. And the other highlight of this world is Torchlight Trouble. Which is where we meet the bird.
The bird!
So I forget the bird's name. Who cares? So you go and it is dark. And I think this is like just a fun, clever trick.
Yeah, this is cool.
Literally all they did is it's like a lighting mask that has like a motion behind you.
Yeah, it's quite good looking for its time, because like they like, you know, from a technical perspective they just put a new layer on top, and with like selective responsive angling. It's strange, but it works really well.
And I don't know how much of a pain it was to like program the movement of things. Like if you stand still, it has like,
it's like wavering,
this little wavering bounce to it.
Yeah.
So maybe that speaks to why they only used it in one level.
It is too much work.
Yeah. It's not a super difficult level. I played it pretty clumsily here myself.
Yeah. This game's hard. It's a very difficult game. And for me, it's all like I said before, it's not the enemies that necessarily get me, it's the platforming.
Yeah, which I think also speaks to some design issues. The platforming is like, it just doesn't have the same sense of like boundaries that a Mario game has.
Yeah.
And like these 3D sprites, I think, are part of the problem. I don't know, and like the way that they're like just lit poorly, like you just don't get quite as good a sense of space and like what the hitbox boundaries are.
That's right, yeah.
With Mario. And the momentum is good. I've played worse, for sure. Like,
Now,
it does feel good.
I feel like I was missing something when I was playing. Like, is this like Mario where you hold Y to run or anything like that?
Yes.
That explains why
Always
I was
hold
like,
Y.
like, that's fine.
Were you just playing like this the whole time?
Not when I played through. I feel like I've never played a video game on mic before, so I feel like I was like having a hard time like adapting and like doing both things
you
at
didn't
once.
have the muscle memory built in.
Yeah, exactly. Because again, like, you know, playing this at home when there's nothing recording, I'm way more likely to figure it out and to like, you know, do a better. I swear I'm better than I just played.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Actually, I want to talk about. So there's this other weird feature. I'm not gonna try to pass this. So if you're watching the video, there's this move you have to do that is just defies physics to reach like some bonus things. Which is so like both Kongs have this thing where like if you roll with Y, they pick up momentum in a weird way.
Okay, like snowball effect.
Yeah. And like
Oh my
Diddy
God.
Kong will just keep going. So there's certain things you have to reach by doing this. You roll like off, like way off, and then jump.
Oh my gosh.
And you get actually that wasn't a good space because I landed on a platform. I'll find some place just to show how far. But like I just completely rolled over.
Yeah, you just like
that's like how you have to get like certain letters and stuff.
Good Lord.
It's a weird control mechanic to learn. That's another like weird thing about it. It's kind of fun once you get it. It looks weird. It feels weird.
Yeah, because it's just like it's not what you would. It's not real physics.
Yeah,
it's
the physics are bizarre.
It
like
depends on like this like gimmick.
Yeah, I think that's maybe I stopped on this level because this level uses it a lot. Like all the items are buried below platform. Like if you're watching, like all the letters and a bunch of extra bananas are in a gap between platforms where you have to do that roll off.
Yeah, that's so close.
It's
It reminds me
really
of trying to get the Hadouken in Mega Man X, like where like if you remember that big jump that like you're on like a minecart in Mega Man X.
Yeah.
And like you've got to time it just perfectly so that Mega Man can get to the Dr. Light capsule. Just that like it's only possible if you've spent dozens, if not like 100+ hours playing this game, like where you can really get the finesse like down.
Yeah, and there's as you saw, like in that level, what was that level called? Rope Bridge Rumble. There's a lot of just basic items that it's like if you haven't figured out this roll and jump in midair thing yet,
Yeah,
you just miss every item in the level. That's not great. Anyway, the boss here, really naughty's Rampage.
Oh, reskinning a boss.
Do they even reskin it? I think they just speed him up. So he just he jumps higher. He does. So here's the pattern. He's gonna jump high once, then he's gonna jump high twice, and then he just goes back to jumping, and then he jumps high 3 times. It's very.
Oh, okay.
And that's the hard part. Is what happens in the pattern is, I remember like this world felt really hard to get through as a kid.
Yeah.
And then getting to this boss and feeling this like kind of cheapness in that, like, okay, I've learned he jumps really high one more time each time I hit him.
Yeah.
But then after he's done jumping high, he takes this really fast, long leap across the screen.
Yeah, it's like a homing attack.
Yeah. And if you're not anticipating it, it's just like you're dead.
Ooh, let's talk about Funky Kong.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about Funky Kong. What's his deal?
Whoa, wagwan, me bodacious jumbo barrel.
Save that for the TV
I know.
show. Oh my God. So he's just like a cool California surfer dude in the game. He gets you back and forth between worlds so you can go look for bonus stages.
This is at the height of Bart Mania.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, cool dude, bro. Like
he's like above it all. He's chill as hell. He breaks the fourth wall, pulls his glasses up, and looks at you. It's like, look how cool. He's very Poochie.
Poochie.
You ever seen the Poochie episode of Simpsons?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's classic. They're like making fun of. It's also a sort of meta commentary.
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, Itchy and Scratchy needs a new character named Poochie the dog.
Oh, okay.
And it's this exact same.
I think I've seen
model,
that. Yeah.
and Homer ends up being the voice of it, and everybody hates it, and Homer's all bummed.
Oh.
So Funky Kong is the Poochie of Donkey Kong Country, but like also we kind of love him because he's fun. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. And he's got like a different like laid back dude vibe in every iteration of me.
Right on.
Yeah.
Have you kept up with this series?
There's one I don't think I've played. I think there's like Donkey Kong Country Returns on Wii and Wii U.
Okay.
And I've not finished Tropical Freeze, but I think I played the rest.
And Tropical Freeze came out in the last few years?
Came out, I think, at the end of the Wii U. I don't remember.
That's fine.
Yeah. And it's, I don't know. I think 2 is probably the best.
Okay. Yeah. I meant to ask if like, just because there's 3 Donkey Kong countries on the SNES, correct?
Yeah.
And you would say 2 is your favorite of them?
Yeah, I think
so. I don't want to play any more of them though.
You don't have to. We're done with that. After we talk about these last couple worlds, Kremlins Industries Inc. is the next world.
That's fun. I guess with King Koopa's minions are called Goombas, and King K. Rool's minions are called Kremlins.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I don't know. I'm just making connections that might not mean anything, because they're both like. They're not slurs, but they're like they indicate
they're like slur adjacent.
Goombas. I think Goomba is pretty much like you can't call an Italian person a Goomba.
Yeah,
but like the Kremlin was like synonymous with like the Russian
that's just
hierarchy,
Capitol building. I don't know where the word comes from.
I wonder if they're like trying to like elicit like the Soviet Union, or if it's more like kids loved the Gremlins movies.
Maybe a bit of both. Like the Kremlins have this sort of militant, let's remind ourselves of like Soviet era militarism vibe to their look and their movement. So they're dressed sort of like more like what we imagine as I don't know, this sort of like Rambo commando.
That's
thing.
right. Yeah, one of the crocodiles wears like a helmet that looks like a GI helmet.
They have this like very sort of like Desert Storm GI on his break kind of dress to them, or like Vietnam, like they're in tank tops and camo pants, cargo pants. Very odd contradiction of aesthetics going on with those guys.
Okay, so wait, what did Funky Kong gave you a plane?
Yeah, it's like plane made out of a barrel or a barrel made out of plane. You decide.
It's a barrel with the plane nose and rudder. Or tail fin or whatever it is.
Yeah. Don't worry about how it works. Just, so yeah, this world's kind of gross. It kind of
So this beautiful tropical island called Congo Island, or what is it?
It's just called Donkey Kong Country, but their home base was called Congo Jungle.
We can't stop here. This is Donkey Kong Country. Oh man, I think I figured out the thumbnail, baby.
So they have this, this gross wasteland, so that we can do these industrial levels, I guess. Cool.
So but this beautiful tropical island has a toxic waste sector. Who built this? Is this King is this the bad crocodile made this? But he's just a pirate that's visiting.
Who just came in overnight and stole your bananas and then sailed away.
Did Cranky Kong do this?
This was Cranky Kong's endgame when he stole Pauline. he wanted her Colleen. Okay, here's the story. Pauline was a colonizer. Her family established all of this industry. Cranky Kong kidnaps her so that the Kongs can take over the wealth that the white colonizer brought in.
Okay, I'll buy it.
That's canon, baby.
Well, now that I'm thinking about like what happens in the original Donkey Kong, right? Like Mario's a plumber.
What are they climbing? Industrial girder construction.
That's true. I mean, it's supposed to be more reminiscent of like King Kong's climbed
Right.
the what tower does he climb? The
Empire State
Empire State Building. And
Mankey Kong!
and it happens in New York, so obviously an Italian is going to go save her. Have you watched the original King Kong?
Not in a long time.
Yeah, I know I've already said it, but it holds up really well, and it's a fantastic movie. And never, ever suggest putting on the Peter Jackson one because that is like it's 3 hours too long.
Speaking of, I heard you were talking about a good King Kong adaptation on NES. I saw recently somebody mentioned that like Peter Jackson's King Kong the movie, the game.
Yeah, it's good.
Was actually good.
Yeah, it's a first-person shooter.
Oh dear, I just died. That's game over. That's game over, bro. So anyway, I just wanted to show a little bit of that industrial level. Yeah, this whole world is a bit of a pacing, I think, letdown in general. Because after you play this first level of it, and it's a new environment, it's this gross factory, and then you go to these are the absolute worst levels in the game. And
I agree with you.
This is Trick Track Trek is the next level in that world, and you just have to ride. This is where I was really feeling that sense of like, why are you slowing me down as I'm learning how to like platform, right? Why are you making me play this game of just like that?
Yeah,
that
let's
seems-
press the I get it button on this one because
Right.
yeah, for sure. So you're like on it's weird because it looks like Donkey and Diddy Kong are standing on a treadmill,
Just die.
but the treadmill is not actually moving in the way a treadmill would work. It's moving like a
it's
model train.
yeah, it's a train on a track, and it's similar to the minecart level. It's about learning what's going to come because you have no control in the horizontal space, right?
Correct.
You have more than the minecart, but still, it's like you just have to learn when do I jump over this obstacle. Not a lot of a real like life stealer.
That was some bullshit too.
See, like
So like you're on the track and there's a buzzard below you, and when you landed, it made like there was no chance for you to do anything. Ugh.
let's do it one more time. Okay, that time I did hit it.
Donkey Kong.
You know, it's just not. It's not great. Oh, here's where you got to use that.
Oh, that like hover technique.
So yeah, the roll and jump technique. There's a bonus stage here.
Okay, I want to see that
one
bonus
of the tracks,
stage.
and you have to.
Yeah, good
You
job,
have to
buddy.
Roll several feet off the track and then jump off of nothing to get to it. A lot of just bad physics in this game.
Like I can't think of any levels in Super Mario World that I hate.
Mhm.
You know, like everything's got its place. I think if you were to hate anything in a Super Mario World, it might be like one of the castles or something. Or especially like in the original Super Mario Brothers, like
water levels.
Well, not the water levels, but the castles where you have to memorize or you have to know which route to take, or it'll keep looping.
Oh yeah.
Like that, I can understand getting very frustrated with in a Mario game. But other than that, like there's like it's like spotless.
Yeah.
And this here's I think my main criticism of Donkey Kong Country is that Nintendo had already perfected a platformer,
Right.
but then they released a subpar platformer.
Because they said we got to do 3D.
Yes, and that gimmick is not enough to win me over.
Yeah, and they said in-house we don't have the the time, the resources, the advance on this tech to do it, and they outsourced it to Rare. Who made it? You know, people love this game.
Of
but
course.
it's no Mario, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's just like I don't expect Nintendo to like do a bad job on a platformer at this point, just because like they're the ones that like made platforming games like an institution, and yeah, it's just like this game really pales in comparison to games much older than it.
Yeah. It's no Bubsy.
Bubsy. Never played a Bubsy.
Bubsy is like that issue we're talking about with this game, about like, you know, you're just run into stuff that feels unfair.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. You're just like so lost in the space, and you do this like gliding mechanic a lot.
Is he a squirrel, a flying squirrel?
He's a cat who can do this flying squirrel like thing.
Okay.
And he jumps very high. And so you'll just be gliding, and then all of a sudden, like when you reach back to the level, it's like, oh, and there's an enemy there. You know, like, so like the part that they made fun is defeated by the fact that like you can't see what's ahead of you.
Yeah.
Which Mario somehow doesn't have.
So the way that the Donkey Kong Country goes, I'm just thinking in terms of like gameplay mechanics. Like you can only save when you find Candy Kong on the map.
Right. Or when you find, if Funky Kong comes up first, you can fly to a previous Candy Kong.
Okay. And so Funky Kong can fly you to places you've already been to, but not to new places.
Right.
So it's kind of like Secret of Mana, like canon logic.
Yeah. So, and it doesn't feel super thought out about how we place Candy and Funky in terms of difficulty. Like I was talking about in the previous world, how like that first level is so hard, and then you still have 4 or 5 more to go before you can save your game. So you can feel really cheated if you don't make it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Just thinking about the frustration that someone would feel in 1994, where, you know, there is no Nintendo Switch Online Rewind. There's, you know, then you can't like in Tropical Freeze, can you save at will in that one, or is that
That's a good question?
Like, I put you on the spot, but
I should have played this leading up to this.
that's okay. I'm just thinking about how they could have improved this formula, and I assume they did.
It is better in most ways.
Yeah.
I want to say it's like every level waves.
That's what I would hope for.
Sure. But wrapping out Kremco Industries, there's a couple more little gimmicks here. Nothing super exciting. Is Boss Dumb Drum? This is dumb is right when they named this guy. This is literally just a floating barrel that stomps the ground and then throws some enemies at you.
Yeah, this one.
Some very common enemies you've fought 1 billion times.
This one's a weird one.
One of the few times like you're gonna want Donkey Kong at the helm, because he throws a few guys that only Donkey Kong can jump on their head.
Okay, interesting. So Diddy Kong cannot.
That's another thing we didn't mention yet.
Yeah, and I think when I was Diddy Kong, I jumped on an armadillo. Yeah. And it kept coming after me, but I saw you jump on an armadillo as Donkey Kong, and it died immediately.
Yeah, and there's these big fat boys, these big titty bitches.
I wonder why they gave them tits.
Clumps.
Yeah, why did they give the crocodiles tits?
I don't know. But only Donkey Kong can jump on their heads. Armadillos, same. Rolling, and that's it. You hit some not a great boss. It's like when you get to this point, even as a kid, you're like, were they running out of ideas?
They sure were. Chimp Caverns.
Yeah, that's Kremco Industries. Chimp Caverns is the final world, and it is kind of a rehash. It really feels like they've kind of run out of steam.
Yeah,
this couple of worlds.
This is where the lighting, you have to like turn the lamp on, or the enemies will attack you, or there's something about that I thought was kind of interesting, but also was very difficult to manage.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Well, first we'll talk about
tanked up trouble
for a second. This is another rail level that adds that now we have to keep getting gas for the rail, so it gives you one full one, and it's just again, I'm like, I appreciate you've added something new I've got to learn and do here.
Yeah, but this is busy work.
It's busy work until you get towards the end of the level when it's actually challenging, and the timing of the amount of gas you have versus the fuel available, you do have to do some like pattern memorization.
Interesting.
And it's less of like, oh, how are your platforming skills? And it's more about, have you learned where every barrel is and when you need to get it? And not just a test of how good you are.
See, I think a good platformer should naturally, like, it should come naturally to a first-time player, and you should feel like you are
like this.
Yeah,
okay,
that's
a part
malarkey.
where you just have to take a leap of faith.
That is complete malarkey.
To get the last little ounce of fuel you need to reach the end of the track.
But like,
you just have to jump into a pit and hope there's a barrel there.
Like we talk about, like, you know, the original Super Mario Brothers. The first level being like a master class in game design, tutorializing without tutorializing, and like the cause and effect are very simple. You see a mushroom, you touch the mushroom, you get bigger. You see a flower, you touch the flower, and now you can shoot fire for some reason.
See,
with Donkey Kong, it's just like, okay, monkeys like bananas, get the bananas. What else is there? Like, you know?
There was like, actually, the thing that I just died doing in the video here is you have to understand sometimes if there's a tire, it's like sometimes a tire is just a tire.
Yeah.
But in this level, no, a tire, you absolutely have to place that in just the right spot at the right time or you're dead.
Yeah, and because you use the tires to bounce on, they act as trampolines for the Kong. Are they family? Are they brothers? Or like, what is the relationship between Donkey and Diddy?
They're best friends.
Okay.
Yeah, they're best friends. And then there's another minecart level here where now you jump out of the cart. I don't know which one it is. Is it Manic Mincers?
Let's check it out.
Let's go back to the game tape, fellas. It's not Manic Mincers.
They're mincing things.
There's just
that's such a British thing too. They always because British people call ground meat minced meat.
Yeah,
fucking Brits.
Even just this enemy design, I don't know what it is, but something about it feels British. This doesn't feel like something a Japanese company would come up with.
It's a bit scary, isn't it?
This spinning spiked tire. I don't get it. All right, but that's okay. That's not the level we were looking. We're looking for the minecart one. It's probably Misty Mine.
How'd you do that?
Start and we'll leave.
You press start and select in the middle of a level, and you can just leave the level
if you've beaten it.
Oh, okay.
This is not it either. It's not Misty Mine. Misty Mine is just
it's misty.
Got some mist. Okay, that's not the one we're looking for. We're gonna keep moving forward.
That's a cool function. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, it's really nice when you're going back and you're looking for.
I think Loopy Lights is the one I was talking about.
Loopy Lights is where you got to keep the lights on.
And like, what are the enemies? They're like zombies or something like that. I forget what they were. They're like.
We'll go look at them in a second. What happened to the minecart level? Am I imagining this?
Ooh.
Or was it in the last world? Either way, there was another minecart level. I think it was in the last. This one.
Okay.
Yeah. You have to keep the lights on, or these rock. They're like Kremlins that are made of rock. We'll see here, I believe. Oh no, that's in World 2. This one's just keep the lights on, or you can't. So, and the real annoying thing here is you have to keep jumping to keep these lights on.
Yeah.
But the clap traps now jump with you.
It's just such a gross name.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So they jump when you jump?
Yeah, you have to sense that they're coming.
Oh, that's like what's that Mega Man boss? Is it Metal Man?
Like they're Man? No.
They mirror your moves to a specific point. I know. I just keep being like, "What's that other game?" I'd much rather talk about any other video game than Donkey Kong Country.
What's that better game?
Oh yeah. What's the one that actually brings joy?
Yeah. So yeah, that's the light up level.
Boo.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's kind of the gist. And then we just redo.
Necky.
Necky comes back for revenge.
Getting Necky from Becky.
Yeah. And what does he do this time? He throws a couple extra coconuts. 1, 2. Yeah, he throws an extra. Yeah, exceedingly speedy coconuts. It's the same old nonsense. Not anything special.
Can you play as Diddy Kong in future Smash games, or in more recent ones?
I
think
Super
you
Smash
do.
Brothers?
Yeah. Because like Donkey Kong has always been a playable character in Smash.
Yeah.
But I feel like Diddy came along more recently.
I don't recall when he joined the Smash lineup, but he's been there a while. He's Diddy Kong's a staple of the Nintendo family. He got a couple of racing games. We love him.
Is Nintendo going to continue making movies, you think? Because they have the amount of properties available to do basically like a Super Smash Brothers like cinematic universe.
It disappoints me to say.
Yeah,
because that Mario movie made a lot of money.
Yeah, I bet it did. I mean, we can't say whether it's good or not yet because we haven't seen it, but I'm interested to watch it, especially it being a video game adaptation that is like hyper relevant to our society today. In terms of a video game adaptation, it's Mario Brothers is famously like the one that got the worst treatment, and to have a redemption, I guess, in theaters is maybe promising. I would like it as long as they don't make Link talk ever again.
It's a little scary because it's made by the same people who make those gosh darn Minions movies.
I like the Minions movies.
Hot take.
I watched both Despicable Me movies, and then I was like, wait, there's just standalone Minions movies too.
Hell yeah.
And like, I don't know, man. Sometimes I just let the liquor do the thinking.
I appreciate that basic vibe. Final stage is just fighting King K. Rool.
Gangplank Galleon.
Yeah, so I'll try to beat it real quick while we talk about them. It's, again, just real simple pattern recognition going on here. But you just walk in and it's just boom. No dialogue, no nothing. Just you jump in, this guy starts throwing his crown at you.
Just a big fat crocodile.
Yeah.
I assume he's a crocodile.
Yeah, I guess. And then he takes one more lap across the gangplank each time you hit him. Speeds up a little bit. Yeah. The fun part about this, we'll hopefully see in a minute here. I don't remember when it happens. Oh no, he's got another stage. He's gonna throw these things at me.
Throwing cannonballs at you.
So the first time, and again, the hard part is you got to learn. He's gonna throw his crown every time, so you want to keep him in your sights so you know it's. But he does a fake out death.
Oh, I wanted to get to that. Yeah,
Yeah.
That was my favorite part of the game, actually, because like, well, we'll get to it.
Yeah,
And describe it
I'd
as it goes
never
along.
seen anything like it before.
Same.
And it gave me one of my most like concrete gaming memories.
Holy moly!
Like in my life when it happened. And oh, Shazbot, I lost my Diddy Kong. So you just gotta wait for these gosh darn cannons to come back and forth. And I was I was talking about how my friend Michael and we first rented the game before Christmas. We made it, I think, to World 4, so we just did the fake out death. We think we won. We're gonna get some fake credits.
This is definitely my favorite part of the game.
It's really fun.
It's very funny. It's like
all these K words come up. So it's like King K. Rool has set this trap for you, the player, to think.
Oh my God, you're right.
To think the game has ended, but he's too stupid to make the credits look real.
That's so funny.
But like as an 8-year-old, I bought it, and then this happens.
You're like, wait, what?
And that's exactly what happened to me. I was, whoa!
Yeah.
Is this guy jumps at you like real fast, and you have to roll under him. And if you've only got one monkey, dude, like it's pretty, really tricky timing. I'm not doing a great job playing it on screen here, but he changes, his like distance and speed. And, anyway.
Yeah, no, it totally subverts your expectation. You're like,
Right.
oh, holy shit.
Yeah,
like,
you
what
screwed
video
it
game
up.
has done that before? I really don't know what other games have done that. It's a fun concept.
Yeah, so the first time we made it this far, me and my friend Michael, we both got the game for Christmas, but we were playing on his copy because that's where we were doing our tag team. He
Yeah.
brought it over for dinner one night. Like his family was over for dinner. We're
Nice.
like, we're almost at the end of Donkey. And that fake out death or like happened, and
Yeah.
then he gets up and he kills us. And then his parents were like, okay, it's time to go.
No!
So we had to like wait a few more days to beat it together.
Okay, so they defeat King K. Rool, and then you're getting a talking to from Cranky Kong back at his shack, and basically saying that you got the bananas back.
Mm-hmm. But he also tells you probably didn't find everything.
Ugh.
And I don't know what the good ending is because there was one bonus stage in the Chimp Caverns or whatever we never found. We spent, I feel like I spent hours digging through this level looking for the final bonus stage.
Interesting.
I never found it.
So this has different endings based on the
I
completion?
think that flavored text probably would have changed.
Okay, that's not enough for me.
Yeah. It's like Google it sometime if you want to see it.
Yeah.
You know?
I like the cast call at the end. Everyone gets their little bow.
The music's really nice. And that's pretty much the ending, except one nice thing you get is after this, you call it a casting call, is this just cute little bickering fight plays out between Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong that I was just amazed by as a kid. Like, I was like, holy moly, how do they do this? And it's like really all they do is they introduce like a few new sprite animations.
Okay, yeah.
That you haven't seen
Something
yet.
you haven't seen.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it's like mind blowing.
Yeah, no, that is a big deal though.
Yeah.
I just got to say that they're still showing these enemies right now, and the aquatic enemy list is probably my favorite because there's an enemy named Clambo, just a clam, Clambo.
Yeah, and this is also featuring the Kremlins, and you could really see that like weird military garb that we were talking about.
Yeah,
a dichotomy. Yeah, the bosses are just big versions of things you've seen.
Yep.
We just blew.
Dumb drum.
Master Necky Senior is the name of that buzzard. I like. They also say objectively these are the good guys.
Ramby the rhino.
So here's where you get all the
Espresso the
Ramby
ostrich. On guard the swordfish. Winky the frog. Squawks. Squawks the parrot. And the Kongs.
Yeah. Oh, you get this cute little. I love that. You also get Cranky is like floating back and forth, like he's got a remote control hover thing going on with his chair, and he's trying to like make jokes.
He wants
to take the spotlight. He's trying to chew the scenery.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the little cute little animated fight they do. We've seen this. We've seen Donkey Kong clap and cheer.
I love that he's clapping for me.
Yeah,
I've earned.
But then
this.
Diddy Kong he comes in and
look up.
does a little
bonk.
Yeah, somebody wrote gullible all over the ceiling.
Yuck. Very
this little,
Three Stooges-esque physical comedy.
Donkey Kong does this hand waving thing. It has always stuck with me. He just waves his hands back and forth, like fanning Diddy Kong's belly or something that I do not understand, but it's just this thing that has stuck with me forever.
Cranky Kong just said, I did this using one life and I took less than an hour.
Which he didn't. He was the enemy. He just stood there and threw barrels. Unless he saw himself as the player.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that's more of a fourth wall break where he's like, no, I played Donkey Kong Country and I didn't die once.
Interesting. So yeah, that's Donkey Kong Country. Let's like let that credit music roll while we wrap here.
I said a hip hop, the hippie to the hip hop, you don't stop.
This ain't your mama's Donkey Kong. These are hip monkeys.
That's right.
That's the bottom line.
Well, I'm glad we're done. It was a lot more fun talking about it than I had playing it. But as I demonstrated in that little bit that I played, I'm not very good at this game, but I did beat it. I swear to God. And it's just as a Nintendo property, the lasting appeal does not really. It has not revealed itself to me yet. I really don't see why people would be like, oh, you gotta try Donkey Kong Country 1. Whereas, like, if there's better sequels, I'd be more interested to try those, but I'm not going to.
I feel like if this didn't click with you, you don't either.
Yeah, that's enough for me, I think. And it's interesting because, so far here at Camp Video Games, I've talked about games I truly, truly love. And it was a challenge to not just shit on this the entire time, but it was, overall, it's not a bad game. It's just
right.
It's just an underwhelming game with that tried to over deliver on visuals that did not keep up very well.
It didn't live up to the marketing and PR hype.
Yeah,
I think. Or age well afterward. You sort of you overplayed your hand in the marketing for what it is kind of how I feel at the end of the day.
I know a lot of people, when they think of Rare as a game developer, they think of this game first, but my brain just goes straight to GoldenEye. Like I always, when I think Rare, I think first person shooters for the N64. That's where they like really became a household name to me. But
that is like where they were most innovative.
Yeah. I'd love to talk GoldenEye soon.
Oh yeah, like this feels like an innovation via gimmick that then became problematic for gaming in general.
Yeah, just focusing on the visuals.
Focusing on the visuals and the tech.
Yeah.
What we can do with the tech over gameplay. I think made a lot of games suffer for many years.
For sure. I completely agree. I mean, this is like the Super Nintendo was at war with the Sega Genesis. Sega does what Nintendo don't. And they were only really marketing that based on graphics.
Yeah.
And that, to me, as a kid, that was important. I wanted that. I wanted to feel a bit more immersed.
Yeah.
But as an adult, it's really about playability, smoothness of controls, interesting story, universally appealing visuals, not just like, I haven't really caught on to the VR craze yet.
I don't think anyone has.
I've got some pals, man. I've got some pals that are basically living in 3D at this point.
Weird.
And if that's what gets you through your day, then God bless you. But nah.
I'm trying not to so I'll just do some setup here. So the way I'm thinking about these episodes right now, like our Star Fox episodes will have come out before this. Then these. And then we're going to do a couple Mario games and Mario movies.
Hell yes.
I think of this batch as sort of the interim, those filler episodes in Dragon Ball Z between sagas.
For 20 minutes.
Well, the filler episodes were
Goku
and Piccolo get a driver's license.
Yeah. Oh my God, yes. Oh God, yes.
That's the way I'm thinking about this batch of episodes, where we're doing one episode covers the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next time we're going to slow down and really do a season is going to be Final Fantasy VII after the Mario stuff, right? And the way these fold together in impact on me as a gamer, there's a couple layers to it. There's this whole that 3D is a gimmick, which I think Donkey Kong Country was.
Yeah.
Doesn't hold up super well. In Final Fantasy VII, it was a gimmick, but they really took it to a whole new level that nobody had seen before. And it was almost like they knew going in it was aspirational, as opposed to being no, this is the peak. Does that make sense?
Concerning Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah, and we'll talk about this in more depth when we get there, but Final Fantasy VII, there's different art styles within the game itself.
Sure, the different sprites that you'll see, you've got the overworld cloud versus battle cloud versus CG cloud versus
but even CG character models have different layers of detail within.
Yeah.
So it's it was begging to be remade before it was even made.
Interesting.
They were this is what it could be someday. When you see I won't.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it, buddy.
But that game is a game that I followed the marketing hype from day one.
Absolutely.
I was on rpgamer.com, baby.
Nice.
Trolling those boards, just gorging on any little thing that came out at 11 years old.
Yeah.
Bought myself a Voodoo 2 graphics card so I could run it.
You played it on PC first?
Yeah, because I have a PlayStation.
Wow. The strategy guide that I have for Final Fantasy VII was specifically made for the PC version.
Wow. And then that game, I feel does live up to the hype. And another reason besides graphics and presentation, which again, we'll go in more depth there.
I'm stoked.
Donkey Kong Country, right in that opening animation where it's not your mama's Donkey Kong. It's
Please
hip-hop.
stop saying that. Leave my mother out of this.
Where it's this is the new hip hop 90s Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
It plays into this thing. It's still a problem in gaming, but it's playing to a certain patriarchal male stereotype. And what drew me to JRPGs was you still have that. You see the cover of Final Fantasy VII, you see Cloud with this badass sword.
His dick works.
Yeah. You see this gnarly dude.
Yeah.
But then when you get into what's going on in this dude's head.
Oh, he's such a crybaby.
He has to cross dress.
Yeah.
And it's not treated super weird. There's just something different about how they told stories, and I was this is me. This is weird, and I like it. And also with Donkey Kong Country, that promotional video I was talking about, that is so that macho attitude. Dudes, you're gonna be bashing Kremlins with this gnarly 90s hip-hop style monkey.
It's weird. It's weird that somehow a video game about chimps reclaiming their bananas could be
so broy.
Well, it's American war propaganda.
Yeah. It's it's this very frat bro American exceptionalism attitude that is different in when we get to Final Fantasy VII. It was a which way Western man moment in my life.
Interesting. And you're like, well, I'm a sensitive Japanese boy.
I'm a sensitive little otaku who just wants to hide with all my video games about feelings and emotions and relationships.
Wait, I think I hear the Neon Genesis Evangelion theme song playing.
So anyway, that's Donkey Kong Country.
Campers, thanks for hanging out with us today. We had a lot of fun playing Donkey Kong Country.
I did this time.
I'm glad. I had fun talking with you about it for sure. And I hope you had fun listening to us talk about it because that's the whole point.
Yeah, dude.
Give us a follow on Instagram at Camp Video Games. And if you like what you heard and you want to hear even more of us talking a little less on topic, you could follow us over at Patreon, where we give commentaries to full episodes of video game cartoon adaptations and more to come. And Josh has got some playthroughs up there.
Not of Donkey Kong Country, though, because I screwed up the audio.
Well, the show's canceled, folks.
Yep.
No,
Speaking of canceled, dude, I haven't seen Camp Counselor Michael.
Well,
is he okay?
I mean, like, I haven't gotten it. He only really messages me through a pager, and I haven't gotten any pages from him lately. So we'll find out.
Okay, so if you've seen Camp Counselor Michael Mayonnaise, no.
Yeah, I hope he wakes up safe in his bed, unmolested.
Do you know something I don't?
I hope he doesn't remember what happened to him.
Camp Counselor Michael Mayonnaise, we need you. The campers are out of control. It has been hog wild since we last saw you.
They're not using the bathroom inside the bathrooms.
If you know what I mean.
I do.
Godspeed, Michael Mayonnaise.
He'll be back.
And Godspeed to you, campers.
Campers, thanks for hanging out. Yeah, patreon.com/campvideogames. That's all, folks.
If you'd like to write to us, send a message to campvideogames@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at campvideogames. If you want to become a real happy camper, you can support Camp Video Games on Patreon. For $5 a month, you'll be granted access to even more discussions about movie-based video games, game-based movies, full-length commentaries, playthroughs, and more. Whether you sign up or not, we're glad to have you here at Camp Video Games.